So I have a new hobby. If you're interested in learning more about my hobby, please keep watching. So I'm super excited about this. I literally woke up this morning and I was just in such a good mood, and I'm probably in a good mood because I just bought a new plant. So that's what my hobby is, plants. Spoiler alert, but I'm gonna talk about them. But I woke up, I just bought a new plant the other day and it feels so good. And I was like, is this a thing? This is a thing. And I realized it was a hobby a while ago, but I think I'm just now like fully absorbing the whole idea about hobbies. So it's really a conversation introducing you to my hobbies, but also a conversation just about hobbies. And a part of the reason it's a conversation about hobbies is because you guys have been following me for 1,000 years, so you know, like, I was not in a space to have hobbies. And while I had a lot of like interest, I think maybe the only hobby I had was reading. But even in me having reading as a hobby, I still read for work. And I'm even just now moving into a space where I'm reading for pleasure. Like, this is where me reading fiction books. There's no point in reading the fiction book outside of my own entertainment, and that is super new. And so one of the things that I'm realizing is that I'm experiencing hobbies right now, and I wanted to share it because I don't know if you're anything like me, right? And for whatever ways that you might be like me, I don't know if we know that hobbies are allowed, and not profitable hobbies. This just brings me joy. This just makes me feel good. And I'm experiencing that now, and it makes me super happy. So my new hobby is plants. I didn't really realize it was a hobby maybe until I got my third plant. So I'm gonna start with the first plant and then I'm gonna go around. So the first plant that I actually got is this. I'm gonna put the name of the plant on the screen because I have no idea. I think it's a black alocasia. I think alocasia is its prominent name, but I don't know what the other name is. And when I got her, she was in soil. I named her Viola. She was in soil. She had 3 leaves. I grew her to maybe 5 or 6 leaves, and then she started dying. If you want to see that entire journey, I do have it documented in a highlight on my Instagram, so you can go watch that. So she started dying. She got down to this 1 leaf. So then I just took her out of the soil and cleaned her roots and then put her in water, and she sprouted this root within like 4 weeks, which blew my mind. Nothing like that has ever happened before. In years past, all I ever did was kill plants. So for me to bring this alocasia back to life, I was like, I'm a magician. This is magic. Like, I am an alchemist, right? And it wasn't that I read anywhere that you should put alocasias in water. There was because every time I tried to figure out how to revive her, like I had the app and I was on TikTok, everybody had different advice. And the thing that I saw that was a theme is that the environment that it was in mattered the most. And so I was just like, I'm not gonna be able to decide what to do with her based off how other people's environments are. So I have to just go off my intuition, and I did, and here she is thriving. She's thriving so much that also inside of her dirt, she had, I don't know what these are called, but this is a part of the black alocasia, but she had this, and I don't know if you guys can see on the screen, but she is sprouting 2 leaves. One of the things in my research that I found is that if you get the nodes, they can survive in steam. So then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put it in here, put it in a little water, seal it, let it steam up, see what happens. 4 weeks later, and she is sprouted. I'm actually, and I haven't shared this on Instagram yet, but I'm actually gonna name her Georgia after my mom, and I'm very excited about that. So this is my original plant turned to plants, and the process of watching it grow and watching it do its thing is really quite remarkable. So then the next plant that I have is this philodendron, I think is how it's pronounced, philodendron. Her name is Ianla. I just call them by their names that I gave them, not by the names of their origin. When she came, she was not this, I don't know if the whole thing is in there. She was not this wide and she was not this tall, but she grows a lot. So this, again, has been documented on Instagram, but this was not as big as this, but she's having this leaf that's about to unfurl, and she has a little new one that's gonna be coming up there soon, and then a third one that's coming there. She grows so much faster than what I thought. When I first got her, she started to die like within a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. And then I moved her over to the place where I had Viola, and then she started to thrive, but Viola started to die. And I didn't catch it before it like happened to Viola, and she was gone. So she ended up getting close to death, but I figured out where Iyanla likes to be, and now I keep her there, and she's just thriving. And she makes me happy because she's just like this big, luscious, like strong, vibrant leaf, and it just makes me deliriously happy. So that's Iyanla. And then the third plant that I got was this plant. This is a maranta prayer plant, and I adore this plant. She is a stunning, beautiful work of art. You can see that it's still, which is super funny, because she, at nighttime, she lifts her leaves up, and the reason it's called a prayer pose. At nighttime, she lifts her hands up to pray, and then during the day, when the sun is out, she puts her hands down, which in the position that I call surrender. And what's interesting is you can kind of see that she's somewhere between like prayer pose and surrendered, because it is, I don't have my watch, but it's probably like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning right now, guys, because I was just that excited when I woke up this morning. And she just, I mean, she has a ton of new growth. She's the most active plant that I have. And I think when I got her, that's when I realized, I was like, oh, this is a hobby. You are enjoying this at a level that I don't know if people who don't take this in as a, like people who have plants as decor, it's very different than people who have plants as hobbies. Her name is Alberta. She's named after my paternal grandmother. And I just wanted to have my father's side of the family here in my home. I like the idea of my paternal grandmother praying for me. That's something that she always did when I was a little kid and when I was a teenager, wilding out. She was the one who kept me from like completely going off the rails. Now growing up, I was like, my grandma was always telling on me, because she would call my mom or she would call my dad and be like, Stacy's over in the projects again, and then I would get in trouble. But the point of the matter is like my grandma Alberta was always like the person who was like looking, like she was looking out for me and like care, like she was mindful of like where I was and what I was doing. So there was an incredible amount of safety that I experienced from her very watchful, very stern eye. And so when I got this plant, it was either going to be Sicily or Alberta, and Alberta just was like, it just seemed to be Alberta. But, and it's like every night, like when her hands go up and she prays, it makes me think about my grandma praying for me. No, my circumstances don't seem to warrant the prayers of my teenage years, but I love the idea of my paternal grandmother being around and, you know, praying for me every night. I love it. It's just a reminder. So what inspired this video for me is this plant that I just picked up yesterday. It is a monstera. And I got this one from Target, or not Target. I got this one from Trader Joe's, this one from Trader Joe's, and Viola from Trader Joe's. But I saw this, and I wasn't actually looking for a monstera, but because this one was so full and big, and it was only $13. I was like, how is this only $13? So I don't know, I was really excited about it. And one of the things whenever I'm buying a plant that I always look for, because I saw on this other guy's TikTok, is that you always want to make sure that there's growth. And so on this plant, there was this leaf that was growing here. And then when I finally got him home, which this is a male plant, when I finally got him home, I noticed that he had 4 other areas down at the bottom where he's actually growing. So he is actually already doing really good just for him to be in my home for a day. But once I got this one, I was like, oh, this is a full-blown hobby. You are like really into this, because the delight that I had from like wiping down his leaves, inspecting his soil to see if he had, you know, any critters. I was like, what is happening right now? It's a plant. But I think that that's the thing that happens when something goes from a functional thing to a enjoyable thing, right? Like these plants went from the function of maybe cleaning the air and decorating my home to the enjoyment of like pleasing me and entertaining me. Like Alberta entertains me every single day when she goes up and she goes down, and all this growth that she's having. Iyanla entertains me via her growth. Viola, the same thing. Like everything that these plants are doing are providing me with like a pleasure and an enjoyment that I never in a million years would have thought that I would, first of all, get from plants. But second, I think realizing that like in my mind, I guess I thought my hobbies had to be other people's hobbies, right? Like it had to be, or it was, I think I had 2 thoughts. 1, you don't get hobbies, and 2, if you do, they just have to be something different than what you just enjoy. And what I'm learning now, because like my nervous system is regulated and I'm not in survival mode and I'm not reaching for a particular goal that's like stressing me out. What I'm learning in this place of like peace and ease and comfort and safety is that I can enjoy whatever it is that I enjoy. And the thing that I enjoy can be a full-blown hobby. And so I wanted to share it with you all because it's bringing me all the joy. I talk about my plants every Tuesday on Instagram. So if you want real-time updates on the plants, I talk about it every Tuesday. And every week when I'm on there, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is bringing me so much fulfillment and joy. And I don't think people, if you're anything like me, like I didn't get it, right? Like I would see other people with plants and I would be probably, I don't think it was it envy, jealous? I would think I would be jealous. I think I would feel a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of awe and wonder like, oh my gosh, wow, how could they do that? How did they get that? And I think being in a state of survival mode, what I didn't realize is that being in survival mode didn't lend itself well to me caring for anything. And this isn't the case with everybody. Some people's survival mode, it turns them into the ultimate caretaker. It didn't. It turned me into the ultimate hustler, right? Like moving and shaking, gotta do, gotta go. I was very busy, right? So I didn't have enough ease in my life to get to a place where I could care for plants, to get to a place where I could pay attention, to get to a place where I could notice the little things so that they could thrive, so that when one of them dies, I can move them, like, right? I didn't have that space in my life. But going through therapy, getting healing, like being able to regulate my nervous system, it's like I'm now able to see, oh, the reason why I was a little bit jealous and I was a little bit in awe of other people who could care for plants isn't necessarily because I wanted plants. It was because I wanted the lifestyle that supported being someone who could take care of plants. I wanted the time, I wanted the ease, I wanted the peace, I wanted ultimately, I think the bigger thing is, I wanted the stability in my life that is ultimately required to care for a plant, because you can't be in and out, running around, moving. You can't and actually have a plant because they're too sensitive, right? Like they need water, they need all of these things. And I think that little like green-eyed monster, I think that's envy, that little hit of jealousy, it was because it was trying to let me know, oh, there's something that you want there. And I'm grateful that I didn't go out and get a plant just so that I can mimic. Actually, let me take that back. There was a season where I did just go out and buy plants because I was like, okay, if I get plants, then. But in that season when I got all those plants died. There was nothing that I could do because I didn't realize that it's like, it's not the object that I'm searching for. It is the effect of the object. And now I'm living in the effect of the object and I'm like, oh, I get it. I fully get it. Like I understand. And it just makes me so happy and it just makes me so excited. And I want to share more of the things that make me happy. So these are my plants. These are my new hobbies. I appreciate you watching the video. You probably figured it out by now. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Why? Because it is the largest online platform with licensed therapists. I am an advocate for therapy. I think therapy has been one of the most transformative experiences of my whole entire life. I would not be here talking about plants and like delighted had it not been for the 6 years that I have been in therapy, healing and growing and becoming the woman of my whole entire dreams. And I want that for you. I want, if you need someone to talk to because you want to boost your wellness and you want to become healthier and stronger, not necessarily because anything has gone wrong, but you really want to boost your wellness, therapy is an amazing resource. If you want to talk to someone because things are stressful and things are overwhelmed and you find yourself looking into other people's lives and feeling that jealousy or feeling that envy and not knowing how to sort through that, or it's bringing you to a state of depression, anxiety, or you're experiencing something even more severe, therapy is an amazing tool to support you with that. And I cannot recommend BetterHelp enough. All you have to do is go to www.tryonlinetherapy.com/STACEY FLOWERS, and you can be matched with a therapist in as little as 48 hours. So I hope that helps. I would love to know in the comments below, what are some of your hobbies? I'll talk to you soon. Bye.